He first came to UTEP as a sort of a rebellious teenager, you know. He'd been over in Juarez in a student uprising, burning bridges and all kinds of stuff. And so he comes to UTEP, and we had this professor that was with the math department, you know. And he was in charge of the Inter-American Science Program that brought people from Juarez, you know, and would integrate them into the university. So he was kind of a conservative guy, so when he heard from Jorge had been burning bridges, he called him a pendejo. I think it means a bad guy. Anyway, it turned out not to be that, anyway. So, years later, of course, he graduated with a BS in physics, and we all knew him. And one day I ran into a professor, Alan Dean, who he said, you know, this weird guy came to see me. His name is Lopez, and very strange. I gave him a topic for my master's degree, and he took off. I never saw him again. He just disappeared. And he said, you know, that's several months later. He said, you know, the guy came back. He finished it. He said, I never seen a guy like that. So anyway, that was Jorge. He went off and he got his PhD from some obscure university, and messed around a couple of years. And I became chairman in the meantime. Can you imagine that? And this opportunity came up with we need a Hispanic PhD physicist. There's an opportunity, an opening. And I said, well, there's not many of those available, you know. But then I thought of one, and I thought of him. He was at San Luis Obispo, I think. And I called him. I said, you want to come back to your old haunts? He said, yes, I do. So that's how Jorge came to UTEP. My fault. So anyway, and I wasn't surprised, you know, he came to UTEP and some guy says, hey, I thought this was a Hispanic. I said, well, yeah, he is. No, he's Japanese. I said, no, he comes from a long line of distant relative to the most hated guy in Mexico, was Antonio Lopez de Santana. So anyway, and I wasn't surprised at that because, you know, he was in Denmark, I think, during his stay at the Niels Bohr Institute, and they thought he was an Eskimo from Greenland, you know. Please, I hope that Trump doesn't find out about this. He's going to go to El Salvador or someplace, you know. But anyway, how many of you guys know his nickname?
Which one?
What is it? Pájaro, the bird. You know why they call it that? Because he pecks all over the place, you know. He's here, he writes a letter, an award here, he goes and writes a book over here, he goes to Russia, and then he goes to Brazil, and then and I mean, he's all over the damn place. And Alan, they said, you know, what the problem with Jorge is he stirs people up all over the place, and then he takes off like a bird, you know, you never see him again. So that's one of his characteristics. And, you know, this guy, full of awards. I won't even mention them because it's too many, but he's got some really prestigious awards, like the Fellow for the American Physical Society and the Regents Award for Teaching. I mean, and it goes on and on. If you ever want to read his CV, you better take about an hour. But anyway, he's not shy about it. He goes on the internet to all his buddies and says, well, ho hum, I got another award this week, you know. So anyway, but, you know, all this stuff, what I really respect him for is oh yeah, I'll talk about this in just a minute. What I really respect him for is his outreach and his students. He's always mentored over the years. And I'll tell you that of all the things that I did in the physics department, hiring Jorge Lopez was the best thing I ever did. So, here's Jorge Lopez giving a lecture on the origin of the universe. No, not the universe. It's the origin of beer with respect to ancient civilizations. Next slide. Oh, this is how much a student respects Jorge. Right there. Full respect. Now, you know, I was going to sing him a song, but I'm too old. And my wife said, don't do it, you'll embarrass everybody. And so I hired these old guys to sing a song for him. His favorite song, El Pájaro Azul. Where is it? No, that's not the Pájaro Azul.
It's going.
¿Qué pasó, Jorge?
Can you hear?
Yes. Good.
And you notice that these guys here that are playing, they're almost as old as I am, for God's sake. I can't hear anything.
We Yes, they can hear it.
Can you hear it?
It's not loud, sorry.
Well, I'm deaf, so I'm going to sit down. Thank you, guys.